Yeah, first of all, congratulations to Coach Morrison and the women's volleyball team for what they did this weekend. What an awesome environment in Reed on Friday night. It was great to be part of that. Unfortunately, I could only stay for two sets because I had a father engagement that I had to be involved in. But I will let him know that I am 2-0 in watching volleyball sets this year. Want to give a shout out to Coach McMillan and Coach Bucky for them going to start it tonight. Good luck to those guys as they open their season tonight over in Reed. Good luck to Joni and the women's basketball team that starts their season on Wednesday. And so all the sports are now kind of up and rolling, and it'll be an exciting time here at Texas A&M. Going back to the LSU week and just recapping our players of the week, our scout team player of the week on offense was Kiati Armstrong. Obviously drew a tall task of kind of simulating their big athletic tight end and did a really good job with that. On defense, it was Jeremiah Searcy, and he's doing a good job at linebacker, getting better every week. And then on special teams, it was Preston Landis. Our offensive lineman of the game was Chase Basantis. Our defensive lineman of the game was Tyler Onyedem. Chase, again, continues to be just a physical force at guard and has really, really blossomed into a consistently talented elite player in this conference. And then I think Tyler had another really, really disruptive game. And again, they don't always show up in the stats what the inside tackles do, but he played a really, really good game both against the run and the pass for us. And then the players of the week, Marcel Reed on offense accounted for 310 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns. Cashius Howell on defense, again with 2 sacks, continuing to put relentless pressure on the quarterback. And then on special teams, obviously KC Concepcion. KC finished with 175 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. And so excited to get back to work. Had a really good bye week. I think we were able to accomplish the things that we wanted to accomplish. We went out. We stayed sharp last week. We practiced. We did the things we needed to do to start looking ahead to Missouri. But, we're really able to get the guys some good rest, some good recovery time, a lot of treatment, which you need at this point in the season, and came back today in the right mindset to get back after it. And so excited to go down to Missouri and play another top 20 team on the road in the SEC. And so it'll be a huge challenge, and we'll certainly have to get our guys ready to play our best football to have a chance. And so from there, we'll kind of open it up to questions.
Front right, Travis.
Looking at some of the stats from Mario's time at Mississippi State, they used him wide. They used him to go deep a lot. How did y'all know and formulate that he's a guy that you can just get the ball into his hands and he's able to make him miss tackles and things like that?
Yeah, I think practice always kind of reveals that stuff. I think, you guys have been out there a little bit. I think practice for us is extremely intense, and so you get a really good look at what kids are capable of when you kind of watch them go through spring ball and fall camp. And so, we realized how twitchy and athletic he was. We realized he was a kid who could really do a lot with the ball in his hands. I think maybe in the beginning of the year you started to realize how elusive he was at getting himself out of tackles. I don't know how much that showed up until we started playing people for real. And obviously he's a really talented player, and you want your talented players to have the ball in their hands in space as much as you can.
Those missed tackles, broken tackles, that stands out to you the most this season?
Yeah, for sure. The Notre Dame game, I think, he makes that play on that sideline. I don't think there's a lot of people that I've been around that get out of that tackle with the power to get out of it and the balance to stay on their feet and finish that thing into the end zone.
We'll go to the right, third row, David.
Mike, a couple questions for you. Is it similar to the beginning of the season when preparing for a quarterback where there's not a lot of film this late in the year, though?
Yeah, I think the only difference is I don't know how much you can change the structure of the offense. I think that when you get to this part in the season, and obviously I'm sure they will, they're coming off a bye week, and I'm sure they'll have their wrinkles and then build the thing around him as best they can. But, you've got 10 other guys out there who have 8 games of experience playing at a certain system, the certain kind of way. It's hard to deviate that. I'm sure what they'll do is try to tailor it to him, what he does well, what he's really capable of, and I'm sure anticipate that the 10 guys around him will step up and support him, and he'll go out and play a really good game with those guys as a tremendous supporting cast for him.
Different question, but college football playoffs, this expanded version's only a year old. Do you have a set strategy, if you will, for peaking then? As could be half the season at this point. You still have a long way to go if it goes the way you want it to go.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And somebody asked me that last week too, like in terms of the peaking part, like it's such a hard thing to gauge. You know, you certainly don't go into the season when you look at, okay, we got to go to South Bend in week 3. We're going to identify week 9 as, you know, when we want to peak. I think you're trying to push this growth mindset in your program that, you know, we've got to come out of the blocks ready to go. You know, no team is their best version in the start of the season. You want to really be a team that grows every single week and really understand that the best teams and the teams that are standing at the end get significantly better as the year goes on. And, you know, and then hopefully get into this month of November where, you know, everything's at stake and you understand the urgency of that better maybe than we did last year, and you continue to see that growth through the month of November, which then I think leads to people talking about, oh, it looks like they're peaking, but I think it really kind of just step ladders all the way through the season if you do it the right way.
We'll go to the left second row, Alex.
2 questions about Missouri's offense, similar to David's question. Just on the tape that you have on Zollers, what has stood out to you about the way he's played a quarterback and the time he has?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously not a ton of film. You know, we went back and watched his high school stuff, watched the part that he played in the Vanderbilt game. Obviously, you know, he's a talented kid. I think he throws the ball really well. The ball jumps out of his hands. You can see that. So anticipate him being able to make all of the throws and, you know, see what he can do with his feet. He's an athletic kid, and so yeah, I think he'll present a lot of challenges to us.
And they're leading the conference in rushing, and Hardy's leading the way. Just what have you seen from him and maybe that offensive line that's just made them so effective running the ball this year?
Yeah, you know, he's a really talented back. He's big, he's powerful, he runs through tackles. I think you see that consistently. He's always leaning forward, and so, you know, he always gets more than is blocked, and I think that's obviously a testament to being a really good running back. And then I think, you know, systematically they do a really good job of running the football. I think that's the kind of the blueprint of Eli Drinkowitz offense is, you know, they're going to base it out of the stretch run game. They're going to have the complementary pieces of it, but you go all the way back to NC State, and that's the one thing that stays the most consistent throughout his time is they have a really, really strong system in how they run the football that they're committed to, and they do it really, really well.
Coach, we'll go to the back right, Chris.
You, when you have success, you get a lot of end of the year nominations for big awards for individuals on the team. Do you address that at all within the group and with the guys that are up for all these big end of the year awards?
No, I don't think we talk about it. Again, I talk about this always, and I think this is so critical in a lot of these conversations, but I have 2 jobs here. The head football coach doesn't talk about those things at all. He doesn't talk to players about individual awards. He doesn't talk about those types of things. Those things are completely irrelevant to the job at hand, right? The job at hand is to figure out how to play our best football Saturday against Missouri, and none of that stuff is going to have anything to do with that. Then there's the CEO part of my job that it's my responsibility to push our players for those awards, right? And so behind the scenes with our media team, with our branding team, we want to make sure that we're doing the things as a program and as a university that we need to do for people to become aware of the types of seasons some of our guys are having, because it matters, right? It matters that our players get the recognition that they deserve for playing the way that they play. And, you know, those 2 things then become intermingled because in order for them to win any of those awards, they're going to have to play the next 4 games at a really high level, which means they're going to have to focus on one game at a time and the preparation and what it takes to go out and play really, really good football on Saturday. And so you kind of blend it all together that way.
Front left, Tony.
Obviously, you're facing a defense here that's like top 5 in the conference in a lot of categories. I'm curious to see the bye week. Does that help to kind of look at, you know, get that extra week to kind of work, or does it really matter? You know, the plan is what it is.
Yeah, it's interesting because when they have the bye week too, it probably is kind of a balance. You know, we're going to look hard and look harder at what they do. They're going to have more time to adjust what they do, you know, and so those 2 things go hand in hand. I think it becomes a big advantage if you have a bye week and they don't, right, and you get 2 weeks to prepare and they only have 4 or 5 days. When you're working on the same timeline, it helps but you also then have to be ready for like what adjustments or what changes or what wrinkles are you going to see because they had the extra time to get ready as well.
All the way in the back, Tyler.
And Mike, you talked about your team, playing with a sense of urgency. Teams like Missouri that you're playing, they are desperate for wins. Well, mathematically, you guys aren't. It seems like your team has been playing, I don't know if desperate's the word, but with a sense of urgency. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think we are desperate. I tell them all the time, we have earned everything that we've got, right? We've got a record, we've got a ranking, we've got opportunities that we have worked really, really hard to earn. And every single Saturday, someone's coming in and trying to take all of that from us. And that's the urgency that we have. In terms of Missouri, obviously they're a team that's still young. This is the challenge that you have in college football today is, they're still very much alive for the playoff. This is a playoff game for them. They obviously know they're going to have to win out in order probably to get in. And so, this is a huge opportunity for them at home on a big stage to make a statement that they're going to go chase a spot in the playoff. And so there's a lot more of that nowadays than there's been in the past when only 2 or 4 teams were making the playoffs. And so, in a lot of ways, this is a playoff game on Saturday in Columbia.
To the left, second row, Aaron.
Hey, Coach. One thing you've really pressed over this season is mindset, not worrying about the past. Just coming off of this bye week, what's the biggest difference mindset-wise you've seen from the players and I guess your fellow coaches as well?
Yeah, it's hard to tell if there's a difference. The differences always seem to show up on Saturday. And so I think we understand where we're at. I think we understand the task at hand. I think we understand to be in the moment and to focus on being in the moment. But all of that's got to play itself out on Saturday.
Third row, Matthew.
Coach Bateman talked a little bit last week about loving the intensity and attitude that Cashius plays with on the defense. How have you seen that attitude from your entire defense as a whole grow throughout the season?
Yeah, I think the more at times that they've been able to have success breeds confidence, and confidence allows you to play with a little bit more of a swagger. And I think that's still, there's a consistency of all of that we're still searching and looking for. And certainly when we're able to get rolling like we have at times this year, you see that confidence build and that energy build, and that's when we're playing at our best. The challenge to those guys is to go do that consistently, start to finish, from the beginning to the end of a game. And we've done it at times, but probably not enough yet.
We'll go back over to the right, second row, Carter.
What do you think you guys got out of this past bye week in terms of what you guys focused on, and just how fresh would you say you guys are compared to just typical point of this season?
I think we got rest and recovery. I think that was the goal. In terms of how fresh we are, I don't know. Obviously, energy is high because of the situation that we're in. If we were 3-5, I'm sure we would feel more tired. We would feel more fatigued. We wouldn't have as much energy going about our daily business. And so that plays a role for sure. And so I think it's hard to compare how fresh we really are. But certainly the bye came at a really good time for us as we head into this November stretch. And it was good to kind of unplug and recharge.
And now that it's been a few weeks, is there an updated timetable that you expect Le'Veon Moss to come back?
No, not yet.
Do you think the regular season's a possibility at all?
Yeah. Yeah, the timeline's still exactly what we anticipated from the beginning. It's still too early to tell whether that's going to move or not. And so, we're hopeful that by the end of the regular season, we'll have a chance to get him back out there. Certainly, we feel very confident for anything beyond the end of the regular season if that presents itself. It's just still a little bit too early to tell how that will be and how it'll respond.
We'll go to the fourth row on the left.
Howdy, Coach. Can I talk about the challenges that the Missouri offense is gonna face for your for your defense, defensive challenges for A&M ahead of this game?
Yeah, they're really talented. They do a really good job. They're coached exceptionally well. They're really good on the line of scrimmage. They got a really talented back. They got an elite wide receiver, and they got really good tight ends. And we're on the road, and they're really good.
Front right, Mark.
Mike, you had 2 freshmen out there on defense for critical points against LSU, Marco Jones and Mikhail. Obviously, these were guys that were highly rated coming out of high school, but can you talk a little bit about how they've impressed you, if they have, with their rapid development.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to how much better you can get during the season, if you continue to put your head down and work. And that's been really cool to see from both of those guys. And both of them have had, different packages or different roles at different times throughout the year. And, Noah's has kind of been as a third backer, in opportunities or times where we've needed a third backer on the field. Noah's really been able to step in and fill that role for us. And so that presented itself. They got into some multiple tight end packages inside the red zone, and, that gave him an opportunity. And obviously he went out there and made the most of it. And he's a kid that just continues to get better every single week and gets more and more comfortable in the base down system and what we're trying to do. And so he's certainly a kid that we have a lot of confidence in. And then Marco has kind of been and I don't want to use the word role player because that doesn't do the justice that it deserves, but a guy that has gone in there for a handful of snaps here and there and given us rush and given us, as drives extend, he becomes a rally guy for us. And so again, another kid that we have a lot of confidence going to whenever we need to. And I think just with the way the snap counts were, he was out there at a critical time in the LSU game.
Back over to the left, fourth row, Rob.
Howdy, Coach.
Howdy.
So we got via the Pulse, we got a sneak peek at your halftime speech at LSU. And basically talked about how the fact that even with all the mistakes, they were just up by 4. The big deal has been about finishing, but with no momentum going to that second half, how proud are you of your guys that they responded, that you said you've got to go make game-winning plays, and they went out there and did it, and you said that we'd run them out of the building, and you did.
Yeah, I don't remember anything I said at halftime. I think I think this, and I'm chuckling a little bit because of this. I think we have done a really, really good job at times this year of responding. When things weren't going our way, when we needed to step up and elevate our game and make plays, we've done that, right? We did it at Notre Dame. We certainly did it a bunch on offense at Arkansas. We did it on defense at Auburn. We did it in the second half against LSU. My chuckle a little bit is I kind of wish at times we would stop putting ourselves into some of those positions. Some of the reasons why we have to respond is because of some of the things that we still do to ourselves. And so I think the inner competitor kind of wants us to stop doing that. But again, we'll probably never be to the level I want us to be. I have a very, very high standard. The kids know that. And so, when we do get into those situations where we need to make plays, we've responded in a really positive way.
To the right, second row, Olin.
Mike, coming into the year, we expected the offensive line to be really good, and they have been. Over the last several games, have they just been, has it been just continued consistency, or have you seen a surge or a spike in their performance?
I think you're seeing them play to the level we believe they were capable of. I think, they're a veteran group, and so, they were excited to get into SEC play, and I think that was part of what we went through a little bit at the beginning of the year, which was, no disrespect to anybody, but I think there was some big games on the schedule, some games that our guys were looking forward to, and we kind of, built our way into the season, it felt like a little bit in terms of how well we were playing, and as we've hit the part of the season where it's full all-in SEC play and the line of scrimmage is critical, I think our offensive line has elevated to that challenge, and I think you've seen them go out and play really well. Now they have a massive challenge in front of them this year. This is the best defensive line that we've seen to date. They're an extremely talented group. They've got 2 of the best edge rushers in the country, and so we're going to have our hands full on Saturday in Columbia.
Would you think for that offensive line, is it a greater asset, their experience, or their physicality?
Oh, I'll take physicality over experience all the time. You're experienced, but I don't think I'm going to play you at right tackle this week because I don't think you have the physicality that we need. And so, I think physicality wins out. But no, the physicality is such a huge piece of this conference, right? And your ability to run the ball, your ability to create clean pockets. I think that's the thing that really in the last few weeks you've seen at a really high level is how clean the pocket has been for Marcel. And then obviously he plays a role with his athleticism. When the pocket does break down, he can make things happen. But I think the group is really playing well together, and I think the physicality is a huge piece of it. No disrespect.
We'll go to the third row on the left.
What kind of freedom does it give you as a play caller to have the kind of versatility in your safety room that you do?
Yeah, I think it gives you a lot. I think what are we now? 21 games in, I think, and so you've got a really good feel for what those kids do well, what they're capable of doing. I think that always helps. I think we're doing a better job putting those guys in positions to be successful because I think we have a really good feel on what they're good at and maybe what situations to try to keep them out of, and so that helps. But the versatility of skill set that group has is really, really important, and I think plays a big role in what we're doing.
And then in terms of Coach Bateman, what kind of advantages or changes have you just noticed with him being on the field this season as opposed to last season?
Yeah, I think when you talk about like in-game adjustments, I think having creating the extra position, having Coach Hemphill come in and kind of be the box guy, which has allowed Jay the freedom to come down to the field, and so now the linebackers see him in between every possession. He's also able to make the adjustments that are necessary across all 11 guys, and that's been obviously something I know he's been really excited about because I think that allows us to adjust in game at a much higher level maybe than we were at times last year, just because he had to be in the box and there really wasn't another option. And then I also think from like a mentality and a temperament standpoint, I think he does a really good job of having a pulse of making sure that energy and that stuff is at the level it needs to be, and so that's always good having him on the sideline for that as well.
We'll go back over to the right. Chris in the back.
Coach, you've had a couple of punts blocked. Has that led to any personnel changes or schemes in how you protect?
No, I think from our perspective, it's execution that needs to improve. I don't think that we've identified flaws in our system. I think we've identified flaws in how we've executed what we were trying to get accomplished. And so, like everything, you continue to tinker and make sure that you put kids in the best possible position to be successful. And it becomes execution is an all-encompassing thing, right? It's not just the players have to do it. We've got to make sure we're calling things and creating leverage and opportunities that allow us to go out and execute at the level we want to. And so, but no, I don't think it's a mass reload or anything. We've just got to fix what we've got to clean up.
Front right, Travis.
Yeah, first college football player rankings, Kamara, how much do you pay attention to those or even what's said about why you're in the positions that you might be in?
Not at all.
Sorry.
What do you think that's something that has separated y'all from other teams in the SEC that are trying to catch you in the standings?
We haven't lost yet. Would probably be a good starting point. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to compare yourself to other teams in the league. I just trying to figure out how to play good football on Saturday against Missouri.
I'm also curious, someone dressed up as you for Halloween at the volleyball game. What did you think about that?
I told my kids in the family group chat afterwards, you've made it in life when people are dressing up as you during Halloween. And so I didn't realize the glasses have become such a big thing because I don't even realize that I'm wearing them anymore. But no, it's cool to see the support from the students. I appreciate how they've taken to me and to my family. It means a lot to me.
To the right, Mark.
Mike, you've seen 4 of your colleagues get fired already this year. Any thoughts on what appeared? You're not going anywhere. Stop. Anyway, any thoughts about what seems to be an increasingly quick trigger to get rid of guys that have otherwise had some fairly decent success?
Yeah, I think you're giving a good platform for me to make a case for myself, so I'm going to do that right now. I think this is what I've said a lot about this, and I really truly believe this, Mark. I think people are having a really hard time adjusting to what is becoming a new era of college football. Like if you look at the SEC, I was just reading some of these stats. I think I read somewhere that there's been like 27 one-score games in the SEC this year, more than we've had in a really long time. I think there were 6 games last week, 5 of them came down to one-score games. The parity in this conference is at an all-time high. And so when you look at it week in and week out, I think people are still looking for the days when the best team went out and won by 40 every week, and 12-0, 11-1 were kind of the standard of what was good. I think a lot of us as coaches have continued to try to preach like it's not the same feeling anymore. It doesn't feel like that's what's really good. What's really good is finding a way to win enough games to get yourself into the playoff where you have a chance to go make a run at this thing. And I think, I just think that's how modern college football is. And much like you see in the NFL happen, you see more spikes and swings. Team makes the Super Bowl, maybe doesn't make the playoff the next year, bounces back and goes to the Super Bowl. You see that consistently at times in the NFL because of the parity, because of how hard it is to win. That's what's creeping into college football, and I'm not sure that everyone from a fan base, from a supporter, has identified that. And so my opportunity to maybe preach.
Anything else for Coach?
Good. Oh, one more.
Run more.
Just under the whistle.
No. Right here.
We can do
Rob.
that one too. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Donna, I didn't see you back there.
All good. I know the lights are getting
That's
away.
okay.
Just wanted to ask you about, we've talked about the physicality that this defensive line has shown this year and last year too, but what is it about Coach Spencer that's made him so successful seemingly to develop all this talent?
Yeah, I think it's a collaborative group. I think obviously he does a really good job with the culture and the energy in the room. I think we made a little bit of a shift to get Coach Stan Watson a little bit more involved with our edges this year. I think that's paid off at a really high level, and then I think what Coach Tony Girardetti brings to the table is really good too. And so I think we've got 3 really good football coaches in that room, and I think they collectively do a really, really good job with their piece of building the culture, the physicality, the toughness that we're looking for.
And then we'll finish it out with Rob.
Coach Morrison made a comment that he feels like it's a really special deal here at A&M with all the head coaches and how they're all supporting each other. Do you kind of feel that? Would you speak upon that?
Yeah, I think we all kind of identify what it's like to be a coach in these high levels. I think we all have aspirations for our programs to be elite. We talk about culture within our program, and I think it's as important that we have culture within our department, and it's all the same. I think we're all extremely competitive. We all want what's best for us, but we also want what's best for everybody else too, and you want to see everybody else succeed. And so I think when coaches can get together collaboratively in an athletic department and do that, it certainly makes it a lot easier for us to get in front of our team and ask for the same thing from them. And so and I think it helps I think a lot has been made about me and what I've done, but honestly, I'm just a big sports fan, and so I enjoy being at sporting events. I enjoy supporting our teams. I don't do it for show. I do it because I appreciate what they're doing and what they're putting into it, and any chance I get to go out and support, I'd love to take it.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.